Are you listening? This ain't no quiet thing. We're screaming out our lungs. Hey, are you listening? Hey, are you there? Hey, are you listening? Or do you just not
Well, hey, are you listening? This is a podcast exploring the past, present, and future of Christian music. My name is Joel. I'm here with my good friend Brandon, and we connected over mutual love of some particular artists, but also have pretty different tastes when it comes to things, and we get to experience new stuff from each other while inviting some friends along for the ride. Brandon, what is up?
Oh, it's everything is up.
Everything is up. What is everything that's up?
Oh, there's so much stuff up. Just the stock market, I don't know.
The stock market's a little up. Yeah.
It could be. Well, you don't know when this comes out. It could be wherever. I did the other day, I had an energy drink that I enjoy drinking, and I saw them pop up I'm in this like subreddit, just energy drinks. And I saw a photo and I was like, oh, they're talking about that energy drink. And the headline was like, don't buy this, worst drink ever, OMG. And it was just like, everyone in the comment section was like, either like two people were like, I tried. Everyone else was like, well, you know, it's stupid because of how it looks. And I felt like I just had to comment. And I was like, I know I'm in the minority with this, but I feel like I need to stand up for them. But
okay. So that was up.
Yeah, that's I feel like this section is just a weekly, like, what has impacted Brandon? So it's either something good, like, man, I found an old sticker set on eBay and I bought it. Or it's like, the internet's out to get me.
Yeah. Well, I'm thankful that you're in a subreddit on energy drinks, I guess.
If that energy drink decided to sponsor us, I could be talking more about them now. But until we get a drink sponsor, I got to watch what I say.
Until we get any kind of sponsor.
They'll be like, I'm enjoying the sweet flavor of this thing.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Well, man, it's fun to be here with you. We're again in a different location at a different time of the day. It's almost 10 p.m. here, which is kind of like my bedtime.
It's when the wolves come out.
So I might not make it through this episode, Brandon. You might have to carry this whole thing.
It's just going to hear like, all right, are you asleep, Joel? It's like, okay, now that he's going to sleep. So we've covered a lot about music, but NASCAR.
Who knows what this episode's going to be about? No, we do know. So tonight, Brandon, not today, tonight, we're going to be talking about what were kind of the big youth group albums for us, or just the best youth group albums. Like maybe they're ones that our youth group listened to a bunch when we were growing up, or maybe we just kind of know them to be big youth group albums or whatever it may be. So, yeah, that's kind of a fun thing to talk about, right? Student ministry, music. Like, I was a youth pastor for a while, and so I got the like Interlink package with all the CDs.
I'm so jealous. I think out of all the things you told me in life, that's the thing that I go home with, and I'm like, I gotta fight this. I can't. Don't be jealous of Joel and all those free CDs he was getting.
I mean, they weren't free. You paid for them.
Oh, I thought you. Okay, well, and I take back that. I don't think that there's jealousy.
It was a subscription service. I guess it's probably not around anymore.
Did they send you the DVDs too?
Yeah, you get the DVDs with like the music videos.
That's my favorite thing to find in like thrift stores
yeah.
or to buy online. And it's all stuff you can find on YouTube. But to me, there's just something cool about like, hey, check out this DVD of 20 music videos.
Yeah, those are really cool to have. And so I would just play those like when kids were coming in, like we'd be playing music videos in the background. Which is kind of fun. And then I would use, honestly, if it was a CD that I wanted, to be like, great, I've got this CD now. Or I would use them as giveaways along the way, which is kind of fun for like games and stuff we did. But yeah, that was super fun. But yeah, it's like a subscription thing. And honestly, that is a big way that I like got brought back into the world of Christian music when I was a student pastor, because I kind of got out of it for a little while. And was mostly listening to like secular music before that. But it's part of the, like, that's how Abandoned Kansas, like that's how I heard of that band, because I got that EP through Interlink. So many bands that I discovered. There's a great band. I don't know if you ever listened to the band Ruth, but great band that I discovered through Interlink. A bunch of bands like that, which is really fun. Probably Hawk Nelson, like a lot of stuff that I was able to get into because of getting those CDs, which was really fun. So, yeah, youth group culture is like kind of built around this Christian music thing. At least it was a big part of mine growing up. So
it's like food, games, and music.
Yep, that's right. Well, speaking of games, let's play a game.
Let's play, let's play. It's time to play a game. Let's play, it's time to play a game.
All right, Joel. Well, you know, we're going into this. We both were in youth groups. We both led youth groups. So today I wanted to throw out some stuff to you, and I want you to tell me if it's a party foul or party on. All right. So you get to take off your podcaster hat.
Okay.
And you get to put on your youth leader sombrero, because that sounds like something a youth leader would wear.
Maybe back in
Yeah, I was about to say, probably shouldn't wear it today, but
the fun thing about this is I literally just came from our student ministry.
Okay.
Even though I went as a parent, but yeah, literally just came from there.
well, so shout out our youth leader. They come to you, Joel, and they go, Joel, you have so much wisdom. Like I come before you, humbly asking you these questions.
Okay.
They're coming up with the plan for the next couple of weeks.
Gotcha.
And they want to run some stuff by you, okay?
Sure. Yeah.
First off, a lock-in. Just from 7 p.m. to 7 in the morning.
In 2026, a lock-in. My views on this stuff is so different than it used to be. Party foul.
Really?
As a youth pastor, I totally did lock-ins. They were the bane of my existence as a youth pastor. But we did one every New Year's Eve. And so, I mean, they can be done well, but you have to have a lot of adult leaders there to make it work.
Why were you doing stuff on holidays?
I mean, what else are people going to do? It was the perfect night to stay up all night. We're in downtown Charleston, right? And so we would do it at the gym of our church school. And we would walk down to Marion Square for the fireworks, like at midnight as part of it, which is crazy because I'm walking all of these teenagers through downtown Charleston at midnight at a lock-in. Again, the insane things that we do. But it was a blast.
We should do a lock-in as church staff.
I think that would be fun. Yeah.
I'll put it on the agenda for our staff.
Sounds good.
Next up, Nintendo Wii.
Party on. Yeah. All the things. I mean, not so much Wii Sports, but we used to rock like some Rock Band and, I mean, obviously like your Smash Brothers and all that stuff. So yeah, totally.
All right. Monopoly.
I mean, I love board games, but Monopoly feels like a little bit of a long game for student ministry.
Monopoly feels like that game that one of the kids bring. And they're like, I just want to bring my... The first lock-in I ever went to, we had this kid, and he was always just like saying crazy stuff. And he showed up and he was like, I'm going to do this voice and no one else is going to understand it except for like 5 of my friends back home. But our youth pastor, Logan, was like, what do you got there, Cody? And Cody goes, oh, I got Talladega Nights for us to watch. And so he brought it, and our youth pastor had explained that we were not going to do the unrated version of Talladega Nights for everyone at church. Switchfoot.
Party on.
All right. Games involving eggs.
Are the eggs cooked, uncooked?
It's just a parent has said, hey, I want to donate. I got a bunch of eggs. Do you want to use them? And they're like, Joel, should I say yes, bring the eggs, and we're going to do something with them?
I mean, party on.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Okay.
Everybody plays that game where you carry the egg on a spoon, the relay.
Bonfires.
Party on.
Party on. Waffle House.
Party on. I love me some Waffle House.
Do you feel like that your views haven't changed? What if the youth leader was like, oh, cool, well, we're going to go at 2 a.m. to Waffle House?
I mean, if it's my kid that's going, then I don't know. But I used to love that. Yeah. I don't know.
I gotcha. Testimony nights. Just giving a live mic to teens.
I have so many stories about this. Generally, we're going to call this a party foul.
Okay.
It usually does not end well. There's always good, but then there's always one. It's usually a guy who gets up there and overshares in a room full of adult leaders and girls, and yeah, it's not great. Yeah, I could tell you some stories.
Frozen pizza.
Party foul. You got to order the real stuff.
Little Caesars.
I mean, sure. But, we used to have like a deal with Papa John's, $5 pizzas. It was a special deal they gave to our church, our youth group, because we ordered so often. And so they would sell me pizza. I'd call and be like, hey, it's Joel from First Baptist. And they were like, oh, awesome. And I'm like, I need 10 pizzas. It's $50 for 10 pizzas. Like, you can't beat that. It was amazing. Yeah.
Out of state trips.
Party on. With all the right things in place.
Okay. Out of country trips.
I mean, I took youth group kids to Siberia, so that was insane. Yeah, we'll party on again with all the right things in place.
Off the planet. If our youth leader came to you and said, hey, we have an exciting opportunity from NASA to send 15 of our kids and 7 adult chaperones.
Okay.
To space for a week.
Who's paying for it?
Oh, NASA is.
Okay.
They just really love, they heard the deal that Papa John's was giving you guys, and they were like, you guys are giving them that deal? Well, guess what? We're going to throw in free coupons for space travel.
Hey, as long as the parents sign the permission forms, it's fine.
And finally, energy drinks.
Party foul all day long. Yeah.
What
Especially at a lock-in.
What about your chaperones? Can they bring energy drinks?
I mean, but then the kids are just going to want them and complain. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a pretty anti-energy drink guy. I know that you're a pro, but...
What if your chaperones were to, I don't know, maybe conceal it? Let's say the chaperones brought maybe a flask full of energy drinks. Or you party foul or party on, flask full of Red Bull.
Even more of a party foul. Oh, you caught me at a bad time of the night, Brandon. I'm going to get a little delirious on here.
I just love the idea of someone being like, they have a flask and being like, no, it's cool. It's Brandon's just drinking a sugar-free Red Bull. It's 3 a.m. He needs something to help him.
So funny.
All right. Well, there you go. We've all of the youth pastors out there.
We just did a lot of work for you.
Yeah, Joel's helped you. Space travel, cool. Energy drinks, no. From what I've gathered, anything in a flask is
typically a bad idea.
Any trip can be good for kids, but once a flask makes it to youth group, that's when we draw the line.
I think that parents would probably agree with me on that one.
I think so. If you disagree, I would love to get that letter.
I'm sure you would. So that's how student ministry works. All right. Thanks, Brandon, for that. That was fun. Let's talk a little bit about what we've been listening to lately. What you been listening to?
Joel, I've been listening to a little thing called the National TV and Radio U.S. Archives.
Okay.
I found them on Spotify, and let me pull it up just to make sure. I think they only have 2 things uploaded to Spotify. There was one thing that's in French. I don't know what that is, but they also have the theme song for the A-Team on there. So just
those 2 things.
Yeah, that's the only things they have listed. And I found like an orchestra, the A-Team's theme, and I'm like, oh, I don't really like. This is cool, but I want like the theme song,
the real thing.
So it's the thing where it's like starts with like the gun shooting, and it's like an elite force was like arrested, but they escaped. And if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A-Team. And it's just, I was like, man, this is just such a good pump up song. And it also made me think that would be such a cool, with the gunshots, I feel like it's maybe a little controversial with concerts nowadays. But if you were at a concert and you had like the theme song start playing and you saw members of the band dressed as the A-Team with their instruments, be such a cool opener. And I mean, I'm throwing it out there for free. Like if you're a band out there like Colony House, a Gable Price and Friends, if you just have 4 people in your band, you could be that.
Interesting idea. I could see something like that happening in the 90s. Big time. Yeah, maybe a 5-Iron Frenzy, even though there's way too many of them. But yeah, interesting. That's cool. So yeah, I don't know if we're going to add that one to the playlist.
I forgot about that. Well, on the last week's episode, I think I mentioned 58 songs, or no, if you include the album, around 70 songs. So
Gotcha.
I got us covered.
You got some things to put on there. That's great. So something that I went, because honestly, I told you this before we got on the air, I couldn't like find something that I'd actually been listening to in the Christian music world that was new. I have other things that I've been listening to, but, and so I'm like, I'm going to go find something that I like, that's good. And that can sometimes not go anywhere. But today it did for me. And I came across a guy named Jonathan Ogden. And he's been making kind of like, I would say it's kind of like indie pop, but kind of like a little like dreamy indie pop. Like it's kind of chill, but fun. Stuff for a while, but anyways, last year he put out an album called Night, and so I've listened to that a little bit. I think it's a little like darker, sadder, but then this year, not too long ago, he put out an album called Day, which is what he says is his happiest album that he's ever made. And so I've mostly listened to Day, and I'm digging it. It's fun, and he's a smart guy. You can tell musically he's got some good sensibilities and does some creative things, but it's all like pretty chill, and so it's a good mix of like happy, chill indie pop. So yeah, I've been digging that. So go check it out, Jonathan Ogden.
That's really cool.
Yeah. All right, so let's keep talking about youth group stuff because this has been fun. So we're going to talk about our top 5 youth group albums, and kind of dig into this. And so I'll be honest, mine are pretty classic kind of ones for the most part, that probably any youth group from when I was in student ministry from 1990, I don't even know, 192 through 1997, when I graduated, we're probably listening to these albums, and these records were a big deal for me. For you, did you mostly pull from your youth group stuff, or how did you kind of think about this?
Yeah, I tried to think of stuff that was as a whole kind of going on. I think what's cool about my youth group is that like none of them really listened to Christian music until I came along. So there was all of these just like indie bands because like it wasn't, you know, like it wasn't like I listened to Jeremy Camps. It was like these indie people and like especially like the people that I guess were like my closest friends in youth group. Like all of them were big music people. So they were like, yeah, I want to listen to Christian music, but I don't like it. Like I want to listen to good music.
Yeah.
And so for us, like we definitely didn't fit the mold of like, oh, here's what everyone was listening to. So yeah, mine, I have a couple on there that was like our youth group or meant a lot to me. And then kind of discussing like 2 albums that were like, okay, these were probably big in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And what years were you primarily like looking at?
So I put 2010 to 2012.
Yeah.
Because I joined youth group. I think it would have been maybe like spring of 2010. And then 2012 is when we went off to college. So I mean, like, we still like hung out in there just because it was kind of like,
right.
Hey, you're not kicking out like the 2 people that are like leading a lot of stuff. But I think that come 2012, that's when it's like you're there on Sundays. Like you're not there on Wednesday. So you're already missing 1 night of week. And then, you know, like if you got to be back for something, you're only there for. So yeah, I would probably put 2010, 2011, 2012 on there.
Cool. So we're looking at very different eras, which is kind of fun.
You're saying you weren't in youth group in 2000?
In 2012?
Yeah.
Nope. In 2012, I was planting a church.
There you go. Oh yeah,
We're
that's true.
already planting a church, actually.
Spoiler alert, that church is still around.
It's kind of fun. All right. Well, I'll go first since I'm a little further back in the day. And so I'm going to go with a heavy hitter. We're going big. This album was a game changer in the Christian music world. It elevated Christian music to a level that had never been before. People were excited about it. It was huge. The album that I am talking about is Jesus Freak by DC Talk. Man, yeah, if you were in a youth group in the 90s and this album and its songs weren't getting played, you were not in a youth group in the 90s. It was everywhere. Huge. How many times did we sing Jesus Freak together, bouncing around the room, acting like idiots? Yeah.
What do you think is like the one that not Jesus Freak song on that record that like stood out? Like either is your favorite back then or your favorite now? Because I feel like everyone's like, oh yeah, we know Jesus Freak. But I know for me, when I dove into that album, there's, you know, so you have like Colored People, What If I Stumble, Day by Day. Was there like another one that you're like, man, like that like that's really good, or people forget that that's also on that album?
You know, what's funny is that my kid the other day, we were riding in the car and I was letting her pick out songs, and she's like Josiah Queen obsessed. That's like all she wants to listen to. And she's like, why have you not covered Josiah Queen on the podcast yet? You need to cover Josiah Queen. And I'm like, okay, we will. Like, we'll get there. But the other day she was like, have you heard Josiah Queen's new song, Jesus Freak?
That's the first song I ever heard of his, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, actually, like, and she's like, he does it with Toby Mac. And I'm like, well, you know, Toby Mac used to be in a band called DC Talk, and that was one of their songs. And she's like, oh. Like she was offended that I knew the song from a previous era. But yeah, as far as the album goes and thinking through songs, I mean, I love so many songs on that record. I'm trying to think of like youth groupy songs off of there. Probably if I had to guess, it would be like In the Light was one that was like a big deal. Between You and Me was like a huge like secular hit for them, weirdly enough.
Yeah.
It feels like a weird song to do that, but that was a big one out there. But probably in youth group culture, I would guess that yeah, In the Light would be one, which is actually a Charlie Peacock song cover, but
Yeah.
it's a good one. But yeah, Jesus Freak was huge, big record.
That's cool. I think for mine, it's gonna kind of be like a twofold, and it's House of Heroes Suburba. So that was one that I found and I gave to a friend, and my friend was like, "This is so stupid," and I was like, "I thought it was cool." And so whenever we started going to youth group, I remember like they were just like, "Hey, what's Christian music we can like? If you said it's cool, what should we listen to?" And I remember going through, and I remember like Keith one day asking, and I was like, man, like, I'll be honest, like this last CD, it's one that like my other friends have not liked, but I think that House of Heroes is incredible, so you should check it out. And I think that like the next day he like sent a text or called and was like, "Brandon, what is this?" And so like we dove into that album. And what's funny is we kind of jumped over The End Is Not the End, and Say No More became like an album that like me and like my close friends, like I remember getting in the bus to go on this trip to the mountains, and they're like, "Yeah, I went and downloaded a different House of Heroes one last night. Have you ever heard of Say No More?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I haven't." And so we ended up diving into that one. And it kind of, I feel like it's so cool because I feel like it's like the most overlooked of all their stuff because it was before the goatee. It was before them having this following.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really good album. And I actually have a picture on, I was looking through old photos yesterday, and we had this like chalkboard wall on our wall at youth group. And we wrote different stuff. And like the first thing that was written on there was like Keith went over and wrote the things from Serial Sleepers where it goes like, "Save our souls from all our dreams come true." And I was just like, man, like that's so cool. And that photo too, I was just like, we were such a cool youth group.
How could somebody not like Suburba?
I think that, I don't know. I just remember my friend, like, I was like, man, this is really cool. And he was just like, it's really bad. But also that guy ended up going down a really bad path of crime. So maybe that says something about you, that if you don't like House of Heroes, then you're going to go down a path of crime.
He needs an Independence Day for a petty thief.
Mm-hmm. It's not a House of Heroes. It's a House of Thieves.
Yeah, that blows my mind. Suburba's such an amazing record. I love it. I can't think of any songs on there that I don't like.
The guy, I just imagine him listening to this and being like, "Oh, my friend Brandon, like I've gotten, because I haven't talked to him like in 15 years. He gets his life together and he's like, man, let me see what Brandon's up to." And he listens to this and then he's just like, "Oh, Brandon, like that's kind of like harsh." And then he just gets from you where it's like, I don't know this guy, but I just want to go on the record and be like, I don't like him. And
I did not say that.
he just could come to church and be like, "Oh, that's the pastor that said that he doesn't like me."
Oh man. Yeah, that's cool. I love that you were in a youth group that like House of Heroes could be like a big deal, and I don't think that maybe it would have been the case. I don't know. I had students when I was a student pastor that were into House of Heroes, which is cool, but yeah, it wasn't a thing for me back in the day. So
what's funny is one of the guys in the youth group, his dad was like, "Hey, this nonprofit I work with, we want to do a Christian concert. Who should we invite there?" And Joel, I became such a politician for House of Heroes. I feel like that's why they didn't get theirs, because I was so obnoxious. Because I remember being like, House of Heroes, this is the Colonial Life Arena. You want to have 10,000 people there cheering? Bring House of Heroes, bring John Rubin, and let's call it the Jamboree. That was my like pitch. And I just remember like someone in the youth group, like, and this is like one of my biggest regrets. Like I wish I could go back and apologize for being this person. But I remember they were like, "What about Sidewalk Prophets?" And I was like, yeah, if you want terrible music. I was like, I don't know literally anyone who would pay to watch them. And just keep in mind, they're mentioning bands that have been on Winter Jam.
Right.
And I'm over here being like
These more obscure bands.
Put House of Heroes, Columbia, South Carolina. You know what they love? House of Heroes and John Rubin. The Jamboree. And yeah, that's why concert promoters don't ever come to Brandon anymore, because I ruined my chance with being that obnoxious guy.
That's so funny. I love it. All right, next one I'm going to go in on is the album Jars of Clay by Jars of Clay. So this one came out like in 95. I was in high school, and man, we have acoustic stuff is like taking off in the secular world. You have a lot of these bands that are really big, and then all of a sudden we've got these guys who come and put out this acoustic record, and it's led by this song called Flood, which got played on MTV, and we're like, man, this makes us cool. Like, you can be cool and be a Christian now because Jars of Clay, they're Christians. And they're doing this cool folk thing. And me and everybody else were obsessed with this record. It was huge, huge when it came out, and definitely was getting played in my youth group and in youth groups everywhere. So
that's really cool. What just for fun, what would you mention like track off of there?
I think songs that I love off there, like Love Song for a Savior, I feel like is a highlight. But honestly, I love so many of them. Like a Child is really fun. One of my favorite songs that's a lot more chill would be like Worlds Apart, which I think is a really pretty song. So there's a lot of great songs on that album.
That's cool. My next album is Sex, Drugs, and Self-Control by John Rubin. So this album came out.
Brandon, you were totally leading what people in your youth group were listening to.
I know. I feel like there's people listening that like they're both jealous because they're like, I wish I could have been that person, but I feel like they're also just angry that it's like, why are we already two albums in, Brandon, and there's no Switchfoot that's been mentioned? Like, why was there not like a? You guys know Christians can make good music. You ever heard of John Foreman? Instead, it's like, you ever heard of a little guy named John Rubin? But this came out like the Christmas before I super got into youth group. So like, this was when I was first just starting to like this album just was so, it was so different. Like I hated it at the beginning because I was like, what is this? And I remember like John Rubin, like you don't know like how much of it's like serious versus how much of it's like a joke. Yeah. But I remember him making a comment about like, yeah, the writing for this was just like writing a bunch of like lines and just putting them together like on there. And honestly, the album feels like that. Like it feels like there's just like 700 lines that now are just put into like, this is going to be a song and all. And I think that for me, this album, like when it came out, this was like when Lecrae had gotten like super big. So you had like Lecrae, you had like Tadashi, and a couple of other ones. And I feel like John Rubin just he represented something like different. Because I know even for me, I was like, man, I feel like these rappers over here, like they're doing this stuff, but it just feels like they're doing the same thing. Whereas like this guy over here is like, he's putting out like a hip hop album and like he's talking about stuff, but it's like different. And I feel like it kind of represents just like our youth group, because our youth group was just made up of such a diverse group of people. Like you just had these people that were huge, like just these like rednecks, like hunting all the time and all. And then you had people like me that were like, you guys heard about NASCAR? And then you had like, it was just like so many different people in there. And I feel like with this album, it was like, okay, this is something that's like different. And one of the songs, Radio Makes You Lonely, whenever he's live, he does a thing where he would go back and forth, where it's like dance, 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 party, party. So I remember just being in like my Dodge Stratus, and I remember having like 4 people in the car, being like, "You guys ready?" And then like doing like that back and forth. So like to me, it was just such a like I said, it was like getting to show people like, oh wow, and like eventually it turned into them being like, okay, yeah, this is we were gonna go back over to like the Lecrae's of the world, but I feel like it just impacted like me so much, and just man, like this is what's established, but like why not do something different? Like it's okay to be like different in approaches for stuff.
Brandon, you know the difference between John Rubin and a Lecrae and a Tripoli and a Flame and a Tadashi.
One of them's the greatest Christian rapper ever, and the other ones aren't.
He's white, Brandon, and this is why you connected with him at a deeper level.
I think honestly, it was at that time. It was like almost with every genre. Like you had like rock stars that were like doing their thing, but then you'd find that rock star like a House of Heroes that was doing that.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that's my second one.
Yeah. John Rubin obviously is a big deal for you. And it's cool that you were able to kind of like influence your youth group in that way. I didn't mention this one, but as I was serving in student ministry, coming out of high school myself and being in college, our youth pastor, who's still one of my really good friends to this day, loved John Rubin. Mm-hmm. And so John Rubin got a lot of play as I was serving in student ministry, like after that. And so, it was a constant soundtrack because he was a huge John Rubin
Sounds
fan.
like a good youth group.
Yeah, that's pretty good stuff. So
he could have headlined in Columbia if that nonprofit would have just listened to Brandon.
I don't know that you have the best ideas on like what can actually attract people, but I hear you. I would have much rather gone to see House of Heroes and John Rubin than most other things. So
we ended up having it was John, it was Rush of Fools, Josh Wilson,
worship,
and I think Todd Agnew.
Okay.
I think, but
yeah, that doesn't sound as exciting.
Yeah, we could have. So if anyone out there has a budget, you could probably get House of Heroes and John Rubin cheaper now than you could back then too. So
I mean, I feel like it'd probably take a lot of money just because they'd have to actually practice and get to where they could play a show.
That's true too. So
it's a little different than just being on the road and like being able to knock it out.
That's true.
All right, my number 3, I'm going to go with an audio journaling album. Not the one that we've covered already, Bloom, but their album before that, Don't Censor Me. And the reason I picked this, so this came out in 93. I was a freshman in high school. And obviously, the big youth group thing about this whole record is Big House. Like, Big House was a huge song. Youth groups sang this at camp. They sang it in their student ministry. They're like constantly singing it, doing the motions. We can play football. I mean, you name it. They're just loving this song. It was huge. And so everybody knew the song Big House, even if you didn't know Audio Journaling or you didn't know this album at all. But there are other songs on this album that I feel like just were like, this is a record that was written for youth group kids, like from start to finish. There's literally a song, track number 2, is called AKA Public School. And it's literally a song where they're just like, hey, your public school is a mission field. And they're like taking tax dollars to pay to send you there. Like, this is your mission field. Go and live out the gospel at your public school. I think that like the tagline of it is they pay to put you in their classes. It's your chance to reach the masses. And so this was like, this whole album is like written for youth group. And so in a lot of ways, I feel like it's kind of the epitome of like a 90s youth group album. because it just captures all those ideas like so well. And yeah, it was a fun record to listen to. So,
Do you think that would be a hit in today's youth groups?
no, not in the slightest bit.
You'd immediately get how old is Joel?
And honestly, it's I went back and listened to this the other day after we covered Bloom, just to say I want to go listen to Don't Censor Me again. And it's not the easiest thing in the world to listen to, but there's some good stuff on there.
I think with Audio Adrenaline, there was such a jump between like the sound for like those albums.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like when I think of like Don't Censor Me, I think of like this is kind of this like cringy like 90s. But then I feel like Bloom, maybe it's like them shifting like genre. And I think like, I don't know, even like some kind of Zombies kind of the same way, but I don't like Underdog. I don't think of that as 90s. I think of that as you could release that today and I'd be like, that's a good album. But I think that's interesting to think about.
Don't Censor Me, totally 90s, totally cringe youth group, but we loved it back in the day. So, yeah.
My next one is, I feel like it'd be a crime if I didn't mention this one, but that is Family Force 5's Business Up Front, Party in the Back. I think that, like, so, with House of Heroes, with John Rubin, there's people that are like, that's cool, you like it, but that's not me. But I think Family Force 5 was something that just like everyone in there was like, this is cool. Like, even if you were like strong on your walk, you're like, man, this is cool. They're talking about whatever. And then if you weren't, you were like, man, it sounds good. Like, I just love this. And it was funny because when I first got into youth group, our youth pastor loved this. But then our next youth pastor was like, yeah, Love Addict is not something appropriate for people. So it became a really good debate about music in our youth group. But yeah, I think it was cool. And once again, it was something that was just so different because Family Force 5 was, I talk a lot about like latching on to bands that are just them. Like there is no, if you like this band is the same, or they're the Christian version of whatever. Like Family Force 5, especially this album, it is just like, it's just this. Like there is no, go listen to this band over here that's doing it. So I mean, it's such a good album, and I would say that, man, honestly, what I would recommend going and listening to is that not just on this one, but the album I had was the extended version. So it came with a couple of different songs on there. And there was a song, Never Let Me Go, that was like the ending on like the Diamond Edition they had on it. So that's the song that I would recommend going and listening to. There's also this cool, like, I don't know if you'd call it stop motion, like music video for it, but there's it's just a really cool music video. Like there's just so much creativity going on this.
Yeah. I love some stop motion. That's cool. Yeah. I know Family Force 5 is huge for youth groups. It just happened to be at like, I guess it probably at a time where I was a youth pastor, but for whatever reason, I just didn't connect to it at the time. So, but yeah, definitely know they were definitely a big deal. So that's fun. And I rated one of their records higher than you did. So
that's true. But when we discuss this one, it'll be.
We'll see. I'm never going to let you live that one down. So, all right. So next one for me. This is where it gets a little more into like things that I was into that I played around people just because I wanted people listening to things that I liked at this point. And so I'm going to go with Switchfoot. First record, Legend of Chin, came out right as I was graduating high school in 1997. And I think I heard the song Kim 6A, which was like the single from the record, on probably one of those random sampler CDs.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt it wouldn't have been Songs from the Penalty Box, but it probably would have been one of those Seltzer or something like that was out there. And I heard Kim 6A and I was like, what in the world is this? I'm obsessed with it. I love it. And it made me go buy that record. And to this day, I love Legend of Chin. It's one of my White Whale vinyls. Unfortunately, it costs like $400 to get on vinyl these days. But I think it's such a creative, weird record that Switchfoot couldn't make anymore because it's too weird. But I love it for that. And I played this thing like crazy as much as I could in my youth group because I wanted other people to get obsessed with it because I thought it was that good. And so, yeah, I was always playing Kim 6A, but honestly, the whole record is just full of great songs that are really awesome. One of my other favorite songs on this is the song Ben-Hur, which is a play on the movie Ben-Hur, but the idea behind it is that I thought that it might have been her. It's like a love song about a girl that he liked, but it's named like the movie Ben-Hur. And it's a great track. Another one that I love, man, I love every song on this album. So it's hard for me to even go anywhere else. But yeah, every song's great. It's a great record. And we played it in my youth group because I played it in my youth group all the time.
That's awesome. So before I go into the next one, I want to mention, like just quickly, an album that really wasn't a youth group one, and we haven't mentioned the guy at all, like on this, the year we've been doing this. But there was an album called, gosh, let me make sure I get the right thing on here. I feel like it's not a good thing to be like, this album really meant a lot to me. I forget the name of it, but man, if you just knew. There's an album called No Far Away by a guy named Chris August. And at the time when I joined my youth group, I essentially just had this toxic friend group I was in. And like the friend group essentially was just like, man, like we're done with you. And this person, I was like, man, they're like my best friend. They were like, you should go kill yourself. And it was just this, just really toxic, like, I'm done with you. And I remember going to Winter Jam with like my youth group, and the guy, Chris August, sang it. And it's just this song that, like it goes, giving my life to the only one who makes the moon reflect the sun every starry night. That was his design. And it was just like, I remember just sitting there as this song played and just being like, man, like this is, I'm so upset about losing these friends, but look at this family I've gotten. So like it really wasn't a youth group one, but it was like just an album that a period in my life was just really like important and influential. Yeah. So I wanted to mention that one just as a little sidebar. The next one that I wanted to mention was Born Again by Newsboys.
Okay.
And Joel, I'm about to rant on this one. So I pre-ordered this in February/March at Winter Jam. And it was supposed to ship in a few weeks. They were like, yeah, pre-order, and we're going to get this out to you, dude. And I remember checking the mailbox every day. I remember thinking, oh man, we're going to go on vacation. I can't wait to have the CD with me. Didn't arrive. Ended up arriving like in the fall. And I'm pretty sure that I received my copy after it was already in stores.
Yeah.
And so it was the first step into, what is this era of Newsboys? Why are they lying to their fans about shipping CDs out? I put on here, strike one, Newsboys.
There were already strikes.
Yeah. But this was their album right after Peeler Furler had left. It was their full album with like Michael Tate taking the helm And to me, what's so funny about this album is that I think that it is one of the like worst Newsboys albums like released, because it was just such a step down from what like we were accustomed to.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of songs being like, it feels kind of hollow, or this feels
More generic.
Yeah. Like even like their version of Jesus Freak, I feel like it's the worst version. But with that said, I think that like this catapulted them to maybe like the biggest stardom they had. Because I feel like with Peter Furler, like they were known, but there was people that were like, oh, who were the Newsboys? But I feel like this version of Newsboys became we are headlining Winter Jam. We are doing all this cool stuff. And I feel like it just became like it wasn't the music, but it was just the marketing. Like it was such a lesson in like, yeah, well, if we just do this stuff over here, like we don't need to spend 3 weeks recording this or whatever. Like we can record it this, and then we can go do this PR run or something. So I remember just being frustrated at the time, just having all of my friends be like, Newsboys is amazing. And I'm like, oh, no, you guys need to go back and listen. Have you ever heard of Thrive? Have you ever heard of like this one or that one? And I think it's just so it's so interesting to go back and just be like, man, that album, I feel like musically is not like good, but it just, the machine got behind it and they pushed it. And I feel like at that point, Newsboys was, I mean, top 4 like biggest bands. I mean, like especially if you take out worship bands, because I feel like this is around the time that worship became really big. But yeah,
this was such a depressing era for me, for Christian music just in general, because like everything started turning generic, and you lost a lot of creativity. And so a band that was super creative, like the Newsboys, throughout so much of their career, becomes this generic band that doesn't think that way anymore. They're basically just writing songs that they think are going to get played on K-Love. And so all the fun is gone. All the creativity's gone.
I think it's just even such a step down from like In the Hands of God. Because I feel like that's an album that's like, you have like the quirkiness of Newsboys, but I feel like it was still like there's having fun. But it just came like, and I mean, I feel like it's easy to say this stuff now when it's like, it's easy to pile on and say like anything you want to about Newsboys. But I feel like, honestly, it's like you said, it's just such a step down, because at this point, it just became like, it's a machine.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, like I'd be lying if I said I didn't listen to, the God's Not Dead album they put out. But I feel like from like, you have different eras, and I feel like that era became like, okay, we're going to make a lot of money. And I mean, that's, it's not evil to do that, because you get to bring awareness to this or that or whatever. But it just felt like you listened to an album, you went to a show. It's like, I'm getting this, I don't know, like it just wasn't exciting.
Yeah, I hear that 100%. So sometimes youth group albums aren't the best. This is the lesson that we're learning. That's tough. Well, this last one that I'm going to mention is one of the best. And it's another one that I played a lot because I wanted people to realize how amazing that it was. And that is the Sixpence None the Richer album, This Beautiful Mess. And I can't say enough good things about this record, but played it in my youth group all the time because I wanted people to get into it because it's just one of the best records that I think came out in the 90s in Christian music. And so I tried and I tried and I tried. So this is a 1995 album, and I got some people into it in a pretty significant way, but not everybody, and that's okay. You're gonna have some hits and you're gonna have some misses, but if you like good, cool guitar work with edgy musicianship, with Lee Nash singing on top of it, not songs about kissing people, then you'll love this record. It's phenomenal. And before they hit their squint days with Steve Taylor, it's just such a good record. I could recommend so many songs off of it. Within a Room Somewhere is a perfect song. Love, Salvation, and the Fear of Death. Man, what a record. This beautiful mess. Yeah, I played it a lot in my youth group and won like 2 people over to it. So.
Yeah. My last one is Awake by Skillet. Once again, I feel like it is like, it's hard to explain to people just how big Skillet was back in the day. Because I feel like they're big now, but it's just like, you look like the album went on to become like 3 times platinum. Just in Spotify, like Monster has over 1 billion playlists or songs, and I don't know how many like songs can like claim that, but I feel like there's not a ton of Christian ones that can. And I mean, even this album, it's like you've got over 600 million plays of Hero. I mean, like the least played track on this one still has 13 million plays.
Wow.
So I feel like it was such a big album. I feel like I don't think it holds up as well, because I remember going back and trying to listen and being like, oh, this stuff is like, if you're a teenager, you're like, this is cool. But I feel like as an adult, a lot of it doesn't apply to me. But yeah, I think that it's, I feel like you can't, that's the thing about it, is that my first like 3 or 3.5 were ones that like impacted me. Yeah. But I think the last 2 kind of fits into what you were talking about with yours, is that you can't, like if I do this list and I don't mention Skillet and Newsboys during that 3-year like period, right? Like there's so many people that are like that, like, why are you doing that, Brandon? Like that makes me upset. Yeah. But yeah, like I mean, for you, I know that you had kind of like stepped away from Christian music and you were in the getting back into it or whatever. Like, were you like aware of what Skillet was like doing, or were you like being like, oh man, these people are showing up, you know, like you said, like on your mainstream radios, your MTV music countdowns or whatever. What were you like for this period?
Yeah, it's weird for me in a period like this, because this was what, like 2011, something like that.
2009, I think, is when that came out.
Man, this was just not my world or genre at all. And so this was not the kind of stuff that I was listening to. And so I probably pretty heavy ignored just the fact that whatever was happening. How does this compare to like a date-wise to like an Evanescence?
So this would have been 2009, August 25th.
Evanescence was way earlier than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were like the 90s. Yeah, man, I was totally out, but it reminds me a little bit of that kind of vibe, which is just not my vibe. Like this kind of new rock, new metal, like I don't even know, just not my thing. And so I think I just ignored Skillet. Like I had their first 2 records and it was okay, but they just went in a direction that wasn't my thing, and so I never really paid that much attention to them after that.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think it's interesting because I remember at the time being like, they were one of those bands that was kind of like, okay, we can write stuff that's, if you are in a Christian like area, you get that. And I don't know. I just feel like there were some bands that during that time, it was like, well, this band's really not Christian, but this band gets like a pass. And I don't know. I think that's an interesting dive into, like, to me, it's funny that, I don't know, even now I was telling someone the other day, like I mentioned Colony House, and I was like, there's a lot of their music that doesn't come right out and say like they're Christian or whatever, but I'm like, there's music they play, and I'm like, yeah, I listen to that and I think of Christ when I listen to it, or I think, and I'm like, yeah, they're just talking about life. Like every conversation we have is not,
right.
It's not like, let me talk about energy drinks and I have to bring it back to the gospel, I don't think I'm that talented to bring it. I feel like Mark would find a way to be like, okay, well, but I don't know. I just think that's interesting, kind of revisiting some of these and just, I don't know. Because I think even with your list, it's interesting that you have like a Jars of Clay that they're like, people are being brought in because it's like, oh, it's cool because they're actually over here on MTV doing this stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think and I know that we just listed it, but I feel like almost you could go through a whole nother like hour of like, okay, now that we've listed these, what constitutes like like the albums today? Like, we could do a whole nother hour on, okay, what are the music being put out today that fits these categories? Like who are the House of Heroes and the John Rubens of 2026, but also who are the Audio Adrenalines and, whoever.
I feel like, can I give a couple of just quick honorable mentions too that I didn't throw in? Mm-hmm. And so one of them was a band that I liked probably more than any of these other bands at the time. But they weren't quite as popular in that youth groups played their music, but not as much as maybe some of these other things. And so that is PFR. And PFR is one of my all-time favorites, and their album Great Lengths got played in our student ministry a lot, and Goldie's Last Day before that, but not to the level of some of those other things, even though I enjoy them more. And then there's another band that I really loved that I was able to get a lot of people into that came out during that time that falls into this category, and that is Fleming and John. Love Fleming and John, John Mark Painter, who has done a bunch of stuff in the Christian music world, produced a lot of records, and I think he was one of the producers on Jesus Freak, even by DC Talk. But he and his wife Fleming put out 2 records together, and they're impeccable records. They're just perfect. And they're hard not to like. So those are 2 more that I just want to throw in from that era that I felt like they got play, but just not as much as some of these other things. Yeah.
I want to mention too that I think I encourage anyone listening to this, like, seek out those bands because, I've got friends that they were in that Skillet phase and that Newsboys phase, and they haven't picked up any of those albums like in years now. Whereas you look at and you're like House of Heroes or John Rubin, and it's like 17 years plus, or whatever. Like those are still ones that I'm like, yeah, like I love these things. And I think that's the artist that when you start finding these indie artists or whatever, like those are the artists that you're going to find and are going to become like lifelong bands that you look back and you say like, man, those are the songs I'm playing for like my wedding, or like, I'm really sad, I need to pick me up or whatever. So like I encourage people to find out those bands, and like if you see me or Joel walk up, we'll find you those bands. We'll find you the bands on Spotify that have 3 listeners a month. Be like, you could be the 4th.
Yeah.
You could join.
I love that. That's really fun. Yeah, definitely. And check out the stuff. Yeah, it's great. There's some great stuff and some not great stuff. But under the surface of all of this, it's fun to go to student ministry now and hear what they're playing when you walk in. And it's very different. A lot of it is more in the hip hop world than what we were listening to.
I'm assuming not John Rubin.
No, sorry. Today it's KB.
KB. He's been around for a while.
Yeah, but he's still rolling. So you've got your KB,
Andy
obviously.
Mineos.
Maybe you've got definitely your Forrest Frank and all that kind of stuff. But yeah,
Would you say that Forrest Frank is this generation's DC Talk?
Get me on the topic of Forrest Frank.
You know what's so funny is I asked that question. If it saves you, I asked that question, and I think that you could see that as that makes no sense, or it can be, you know what, like, no, that checks the box of like being a showman, like, you know, doing a great outreach for fans or whatever.
I mean, so from what I just heard the other day is that Forrest Frank's recent tour that he did was the biggest Christian tour of all time, which blows my mind, honestly. And so I would be interested to watch video clips of it just to see what it's like, because what I don't get about Forrest Frank is his music is so simple and like not layered at all. Like there's nothing complicated about it. It's a drum machine with like a couple of instruments on top of it. Like it's so simple. And my mind is blown a little bit that he is as popular as he is. And so I think in a lot of ways, when you compare him to a DC Talk, I'm like, he's as popular or more popular than DC Talk was. But when you talk about artistry and complexity, like I just don't feel like it's anywhere close.
He's no Kevin Max is what you're saying.
I just know all the work that went into writing those songs that they wrote.
Yeah.
And then I see Forrest Frank sitting on his bed, just blowing a melody out about lemonade when he is stuck and can't get out of bed. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, it's songwriting, but like, is it songwriting?
You know, I'll go back to whenever me and Keith were making like weekly skits online and having people be like, yeah, like I tuned out after that. And I was like, no, that's the punchline then, the thing you said. And he was like, yeah, but you had a 2-minute video. He was like, Vine is like 10 seconds long. He's like, you got 10 seconds to like set up the plot, give me the joke, and let me respond. And so sometimes I think the same thing where it's like, is it that it's simple, or is it him being like, no, that's what kids want. Like kids don't want the
Obviously.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think that's interesting because I think of people like him and I'm like, man, I wonder when people look back, are they going to be like I don't know, I guess in hindsight, how will that treat it? Like, will it be like, oh man, this stuff like a Newsboys, when I look back and I'm like, man, you know, there's stuff where I didn't really pay attention to what Furler and Taylor were doing. And I look back now and I'm like, that stuff was so good. And I wasn't prepared to understand it. But then you look at like the, 2010, 2020 Newsboys, and I'm like, no, I didn't like it back then. And even now it's like, I can't spin it to be, this is why it's good. And, but yeah, I think that too, that it is frustrating when it's like, why are you calling the music I like depressing? But you want me to play this? It's like,
well, and I don't say any of that to like bash Forrest Frank. I think he's doing what he wants to do, and people are connecting with it. And
yeah.
So I mean, that's a win, and that's good for him. It's just not. It's not for me. And I wish that so many of the Christian artists that I feel like I'm listening to, that you're listening to, who put so much energy and investment into the music they make, I wish that people could have an ear for that. But I feel like we've like lost our ability to like find artistry in music and have that be popular. And so I don't know. Yeah, sorry, didn't mean to like, but I think it makes perfect sense to cap off our youth group music conversation with a conversation about Forrest Frank. So it works out. All right, let's talk about our lyric of the week.
It's time for the lyric of the It's time.
All right, as we are not covering an album this week, but having a conversation, we always go back and find a lyric from Starflyer 59 to talk about. And so I feel like we keep sometimes repeating lyrics that we love from them. And so I don't know if I've given this one before, but here we go. This is from the song Slow off the album Slow. What does it mean? I keep looking for something that I think I have lost. Can't find the key. I keep looking for something that I think I've lost. My kids, they grow up fast. I want it slow, so slow. My life goes by so fast. I want it slow, so slow. I feel that as however old I am person in my world today. Man, life is just blowing by, and I wish it could slow down. But yeah, it's good stuff. Well, hey, thank you guys for joining us. And this has been a year of our lives investing in this, and we wish it could slow down, but it's going by quick. And we're thankful that you've hung out with us and joined us for this year so far. And we're looking forward to some fun stuff that we've got coming up. And so keep listening, keep hanging out, find us on social media, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next week.
Hey, are you listening?